All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. We're still going to have some people logging in, which is fine. So I wanted to welcome you to this new Spider Summer Series. This is the International Student Session. So this presentation is designed especially for incoming international students. I'm Kritika Sonnet. I'm the Director of International Student and Scholar Services in International Education. I've been advising international students for over 22 years. And just want to thank the Center for Student Involvement for this opportunity to make a presentation to you all today with information about arriving to campus and orientation that I hope you will find helpful. I also have with me my colleague, Diana Trin. So if you could introduce yourself, Diana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Trin. I'm the International Student Advisor also in the Office of International Education. I have been advising international students and supporting Kritika for the last 12 years. I'm also a Spider alum. I graduated in 2011. I love it here so much that I never left. I'm very excited to meet you all when you guys arrive in August, and I look forward to getting to know you.
Okay, thanks, Diana. So we'll just jump right into the presentation, which will be available to you after this session in case you missed something or logged in a little bit late, or you just want to review the information again. And we have hyperlinks to a lot of useful websites. So. Okay, so this is our team. So Diana and I just introduced ourselves. We will also have joining us later this summer 2 International Education Fellows for International Student Engagement. So Stacy Calderon Castillo and Mi-Ling Nguyen. So these 2 positions are for recent graduates of the university, and they are dedicated to international student well-being. So these 2 former students, they just graduated on May 7th. So they will be not that much older than you all, not much older than college students. And they have been very engaged on campus, supporting international students and multicultural students in leadership positions. They've been involved in student organizations and clubs, and being a little bit closer in age and mindset to the college student population, you know, and having studied abroad themselves. Stacy studied abroad in Paris, and Mi-Ling is from Vietnam originally, so she studied abroad here in the US for 4 years. They can empathize a lot with what you're going through, and they're here to support you, especially, and to facilitate your involvement on campus. And so I'm sure you will meet them at some point, but that's who we are. That's who the International Students team is. So next slide. Just to give you some statistics, so we have students from over 70 countries, and it's probably closer to 80, and who come to Richmond to study either for 1 or 2 semesters as exchange students from our partner institutions, or for a full 4 years like yourselves. Our students are very active in campus life. They integrate with domestic students, and they bring a lot of knowledge of their global experiences to the classroom. About 11% of all undergraduate students are international students. And additionally, we do have international law and graduate students. So we're going to talk about arriving to campus, because I'm sure that's at the top of your minds right now as you're making all kinds of preparations to come to the US. So I want to talk a little bit about student visas, So a visa is a travel document that only needs to be valid when entering the US from abroad. So if you have never physically studied in the US before, you will need an F1 visa, unless you have a visa, another type of visa that permits full-time study. We do have some students coming to Richmond who attended high school in the US. And so if you're one of these students and you still have a valid F1 visa stamp in your passport from the time you spent studying in high school, you can still use that visa stamp if it's still valid, along with the Richmond I-20 to enter the US. So even though the visa stamp will probably say the name of your high school, you can still use it if it's valid, because there's an understanding that, you know, once students enter the US, they can switch schools and those kinds of things. If you are a citizen of Canada or Bermuda, you still need the I-20, you still need to pay the SEVIS fee, but you do not need to apply for an F1 visa stamp. If you have any questions about applying for student visas, we provided a link to the US Department of State's website on student visas. In terms of the application process, you know, we recommend, of course, applying in your home country first. If that's not possible for all kinds of reasons beyond your control, you may be able to apply for a student visa outside of your home country if you are physically present in that country. And we've given you here a link to the US Embassy's website. So it has links to pretty much all the US embassies or consulates around the world. So, you know, each consulate and embassy has their own rules and fees and things like that for applying. So I would strongly recommend that you check this website for procedures. So there are some things that you will need to enter the US. Please realize that if you are in initial status, so if you're an F1 student, you are issued an I-20 for initial status, which it will say on the first page of your I-20 whether you're in an initial status or not. Please realize that you can only enter the US 30 days before the program start date on your I-20. So initial status F1 students will be those students who are coming to the US for the very first time to study as an F1 student. So there is a limit on how early you can come to the US. Of course, you have to have a valid passport. It should be valid for at least 6 months beyond your period of stay in the US, which would be probably for most of you for the 4 years that you'll be here for your degree program. There are some countries that are exempt from this 6-month validity requirement, and we've given you the link here. You will need that I-20 from Richmond. If you have questions about that, please contact International Admissions. Please realize that International Education does not issue these I-20s. That would be our colleagues in International Admissions. You will need that F1 visa stamp, again, unless you're exempt from having to apply for one. We strongly recommend that you bring proof of your student status. So that could be an admission letter, a scholarship letter, the payment of fees for the fall, or your class schedule for the fall. And the US just lifted the COVID-19 testing and vaccination requirements. So you do not need to present proof of a negative test or proof of having had a COVID-19 vaccination to enter the US anymore. So in terms of getting to campus, now, even though you can enter the US up to 30 days before the start date on your I-20, that doesn't mean that you can come directly to campus. There is a designated date and designated move-in procedures for you, depending on whether you're participating in a transition program, whether you're participating in new student orientation, etc. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to set up your Richmond email and to check that Richmond email regularly over the summer, because this is how you will get notified about arrival and move-in procedures to campus. If you are attending international orientation, and we hope you will, please check our webpage for arrival information. If you arrive in the US before your designated move-in date to campus, you will need to make your own arrangements to stay off campus at your own expense. We've given you a link to various hotels that are near campus. If your arrival to campus is delayed and you will miss all or part of your orientation program, you should contact the orientation staff for that program. So if you plan on coming to international orientation, please contact me or Diana and let us know that you're going to be late. If your arrival to campus is so delayed that you will miss some classes, then you should definitely contact us and also your college dean, because we will need at the very least to notify your professors. And if your delay is so great, depending on the amount of classes that you miss, we'll have to maybe look into other accommodations. So we just want to talk about some programs and resources for international students specifically. We have what's called a new International Student Checklist, or NISC. So before you arrive to campus, you will need to read all the information and complete forms on this checklist by August 1st. You'll get an email in June with the link and instructions on how to log into the checklist. After you arrive to campus, there are additional forms that we will ask you to complete in the checklist no later than September 1st. And these forms are very important, such as contact information, because part of it is required for reporting to the Department of Homeland Security, mandatory reporting on F1 students. So failure to do this reporting and provide your contact information may result in your student visa status being terminated. So please do pay attention to any announcements about the checklist and complete any forms that are missing information by these deadlines. It's very important. So our international orientation will start Sunday, August 20th through midday on Wednesday, August 23rd. It's required only for new international students who have never been in the US before on a student visa. If you apply and are accepted to Roadmap, you will be excused from international orientation because the Roadmap orientation runs at the same time, and you won't be able to participate in both, although international orientation will have some activities and sessions that Roadmap international students may be able to attend, as long as it doesn't conflict with your class in Roadmap. International orientation has information sessions on cultural and academic adjustment, US immigration, laws, student visas, health insurance, and other topics specific to international students. We will have a draft schedule on our website starting June 1st. After international orientation or Roadmap, if you choose to participate in Roadmap, you will be expected to participate in New Spider orientation. This is Wednesday, August 23rd through Sunday, the 27th. And this is required of all newly admitted students in the class of 2027. And then campus programming. So these are some events and programs that are, again, specific to international students. We have a newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks throughout the academic year with stories, articles, and events on campus and in Richmond that we think will be of special interest to international students and help them integrate onto campus and the community. We will have a welcome reception at the start of the academic year for new international students to meet each other. We occasionally have international education or IETs, which are gatherings with tea and cookies. So again, you can meet your fellow international students. We do have some campus breaks, and we realize that not all international students are able to go home. So we have programming during all of the breaks, fall, winter, spring, and summer. We have what we call game days, where we invite students staying on campus to come and play board games, outdoor games, card games, and so forth. And we always have snacks and drinks at our events. We have some programming during the Thanksgiving break in late November, which is a big holiday in the US. And we sponsor shopping shuttles to discount outlet malls for students to go shopping. On Black Friday is a day where a lot of goods such as electronics and clothing and things are heavily discounted. We have regular dining hall dinners hosted by international students. So this is just a very informal opportunity to use your meal plan to meet other international students in the dining hall and get to know one another, and just very informal and hosted by our student assistants who are called Global Guides. We also have an international club on campus. So that is a student-run organization. It's mostly international students, but it's open to all students. And they host cultural fairs, so a cultural night with food and music from a variety of countries and regions around the world. And they have also started hosting meet and greets for international students to meet international faculty. Okay, next slide. And these are just a few ways to stay involved. We encourage you to follow us on social media to stay up to date with the latest events put on by our office. We collaborate with a lot of other offices on campus, such as the Center for Student Involvement, Student Center for Equity and Inclusion, et cetera. We collaborate also with student organizations such as International Club. So these are just a few suggestions to find out what's going on, on campus and in the community. So this would be a good resource for you as a new student. And then if you have any questions about the presentation, any of the information we just shared, or anything else about coming to Richmond as a new international student, please email our international@richmond.edu inbox. So with that, we'll take questions if anyone has any questions at this point. Any questions? Now's your chance. You get 2 staff members in person. I mean, well, not in person, but virtually. Okay, so well, thank you again for participating. We'll make this available to you. Please do check out all of the hyperlinks in the presentation. Those websites will probably help you at the very least with applying for a visa if you need to. in learning more about our campus and about orientation. But thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you in August.